On Friday, David Moyes did his pre-match press conference ahead of the game against Man United, and he decided to take his hand grenade with him, remove the pin and fling it among the West Ham fan base, because within the embargo section of the press conference he was asked about his potential new contract. When we beat Arsenal at the end of last year, he stated that talks were planned. He was going to be having discussions with the board and he would be signing a new contract with West Ham. He's pretty confident he would get offered one, and he was quite confident he was going to sign it and everything was going to go smoothly. That was way back at the end of last year. I make on as if it was months and months ago. At the end of December, just over a month ago. That was then. Between then and now, there's been nothing. Now, obviously, there has been a January transfer window, and this is what David Moyes alludes to with his comments. So it's understandable it got put on the back burner while we focused on bringing nobody in except Calvin Phillips. But it would make sense as to why the club would turn their attentions to the January transfer window and put it on the back burner. So on Friday, the following day after the window closed, David Moyes was asked about his potential new contract. And this is what David Moyes had to say. He stated, "We'll get back on it now the window is shut. We're well down the line and moving on with it. We'll pick that up again in the next few weeks." So he's still coming across very confident that he's going to get offered a new contract, and he's coming across very confident that he's going to sign a new contract with West Ham. And I think this would be the wrong thing to do from the club. Offering David Moyes a contract today or next week, whenever it is. He says in the next few weeks, which is some time away, and things can change a lot. When I first read that, I thought, hey, hang on a minute, you're banking on us doing discussions at the end of February. A lot can change, but then I thought about it again. Well, we've got Arsenal next weekend, haven't you? You probably don't fancy going into contract negotiations with no win in 7, which is what's likely next Monday. We're probably going to have no win in 7. It's not a strong position to be going into for contract talks. So maybe he's hoping that after that one, Paqueta coming back, will win a couple of games and his status is restored and West Ham would be in a good league position. I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing everything, by the way. This video is purely opinion. The only factual thing about this video is the quote from David Moyes. The rest of it is opinion. But I think handing David Moyes a contract today, now, would be the wrong thing for the club to do. And I don't know why we'd be in a hurry to do this, actually. And while I'm talking about it, by the way, we'll be doing a poll. It might already be live, depending when you're watching this video. There'll be 2 polls on this channel for you to get involved in. Please do get involved in it. You can click on the Hammers Chat channel, click on community, and you will see the text posts. There's polls within there. 2 questions. 1, do you want David Moyes to get a new contract? And 2, will you renew your season ticket if David Moyes remains at West Ham next season? The reason for this poll is it's exactly the same poll as West Ham Fan TV and Claret and Booze. Then myself, Nikki and Nick will be doing a video to discuss the outcome of all, essentially 6 polls, 3 channels, 2 polls per channel, 6 polls, and just our thoughts on David Moyes and stuff like that. And we'll be doing a multi-channel video. So I'm looking forward to it, actually, but do get involved in the polls if you don't mind. And more people that get involved, the better. The bigger the data, the better, I think, in situations like this. So my opinion hasn't changed for months. I don't want David Moyes to get a new contract. It's not changed recently since I last done a video. But I think giving him a new deal now would be the wrong thing to do. I think Moyes is a results-based manager. He's not getting a new contract based on entertainment, let's put it that way. But in terms of what he does cold, the facts of it, the league table, and that's removing all the other things around it, and we look at it purely through a results perspective. And I think that's how the board do look at David Moyes. They look at him through the results perspective. And while we were in the top 6, I understand why the club would be intending on giving David Moyes a new contract. But we're not at the bit. We've only just dropped to 7, granted. But like I said, next weekend, it's probable we will drop further. We will lose to Arsenal. Brighton or Newcastle are right behind us as well. We're not that far away from 11th in the Premier League. We're closer to them than we are to the teams above us. And this is my concern at the minute. I am looking over my shoulder rather than above us in the Premier League. And if the club were to just wait. Now, I understand to some extent, I understand having talks with the intention of giving him a new contract. It doesn't mean they're going to present it with one. And I hope that they don't do that. I hope they don't sign on the dotted line until the end of the season, until we know exactly where we are and what we've achieved. Because if he is a results-based manager, and it's my belief he is, then he has to get the results. That comes in two forms now. What he does in the Premier League and what he does in the Europa League. He's got to win it or qualify for European football through the league, as far as I'm concerned. Even then, I'm not convinced I want him to get a new deal, but I find it hard to begrudge the club giving him a new deal. I would get it. Like I said, for the reason I've just said, he's a results-based manager. If he was to qualify for European football next season, I get why the club would give him one. I've always been critical of David Sullivan, and that criticism remains. I think he's popped up again in the January transfer window, and we've been reminded who the top dog is at West Ham, and I do not like it. And I've always suspected David Sullivan, too many Davids. David Sullivan's intentions are for West Ham just remain in the Premier League. Moyes is doing that. Moyes is ticking that, but we're not getting relegated this season. And if that is all David Sullivan wants, then Moyes will get his new contract. But I just think it'll be the wrong thing to do. I don't understand why there would be a hurry. What's the difference between giving him a new contract today, the start of March, the start of May, or the start of June once the season's finished, when we know exactly where we finished and exactly how we've done in the Europa League? There is no difference for West Ham. Moyes ain't going anywhere in a hurry. He's made it very clear. Moyes has made it very clear twice now. He expects a new deal, but also he's expecting to sign a new deal. That implies he wants to stay. Regardless of what's happening with Martin Noble, what's happening with Tim Steidten, Moyes wants to stay. And I get why. I'd be surprised if he didn't. He's very well paid. He works with top-end footballers in the Premier League, in London. He's got a very, very good job at West Ham United. And usually, plenty of money to spend as well. It's a good gig for a manager. You couldn't ask for much more. The backing of your board, money to spend. He's got it good. There's no danger, in my opinion, of losing David Moyes. None. I'd be surprised if Moyes was to walk out of here. I'd be shocked. And do you know something? If he did, I think he'd be making a mistake. Because he's not going to get a better gig than this West Ham one he's got right now. Well, he's done it. He's finally won a trophy at West Ham. His best chances of winning a other trophy will be here at West Ham. So the club aren't up against a wall with Moyes pointing a gun at them. They don't need to panic. They don't need to hurry. Just wait. I hope he doesn't get a new contract. Moyes said it's a few weeks away, which gives me encouragement that it's not going to get done anytime soon, because a lot can change. Even just between now and the end of February, a lot can change. We could lose every single game and drop into the bottom half of the Premier League. We could win every single game and be fifth in the Premier League. I know which one's more likely, but my point is a few weeks, in David Moyes' words, can be significant in football. The one thing that's come off the back of what David Moyes has said, which I dislike, it's the division among the fan base. And part of me almost wants this to get resolved one way or another so that the division can end. But the division hasn't come because David Moyes' contract's running out. It's because of how emotional people are invested in this. The people that want Moyes to go now will still want Moyes to go now, even if he signs a new contract. Arguably, that will increase. The desire to see Moyes go will increase because the hope will be removed. If you want Moyes sacked today, there's hope that he will go at the end of the season. If he signs a new deal, that hope disappears just like that. I'd imagine there will be an angry emotion from a lot of people that he's been given a new contract. The divisions come because people are so emotionally attached to this, and I understand why, but I'm going to get onto my own point in a minute. I can understand why. Because at the minute, the club have got other decisions to make. Ben Johnson, do we give him a new contract or not? Mubama, what do we offer him to persuade? There's no division over Mubama or Ben Johnson. Well, there is. People agree and disagree. But it's not that aggressive. If I want Ben Johnson to get a new contract and I want Mubama to get one, there'll be people watching now that have different opinions. I'm probably not going to receive abuse because I want Ben Johnson to be given a new contract, if that makes sense. But the David Moyes contract situation, it's a very aggressive place at the minute, and it's in, I can only speak for videos here, it's in every video. You do a video about the game and it's about Moyes. You do a video about signing Calvin Phillips, it's about Moyes. I could do a video about the new kit next season and there will be comments about how it's going to be crap because Moyes will be the man managing the team that's wearing a new kit. Everything comes back to David Moyes at the minute. I appreciate we don't help by doing videos on it, but we just talk about whatever's topical. But I believe it or not, I try and avoid the David Moyes thing in every video. That's why yesterday when I did the match review of the game, I tried to stick to the game. And people say, well, why aren't you angry about Moyes potentially staying? Hang on, I'm talking about the game only. I'd find it boring to say the same thing in every single video. And then I imagine it'd be even more boring to listen to. There'll be people watching this right now thinking, I know you want Moyes to go at the end of the season, why are you talking about it? But there'll be a lot of people that flip that and say, well, you want Moyes. Well, all you have to do is go back to the comments yesterday. There's people that go on about me wanting Moyes to stay. I've never once said it. They just assume that. Anyway, aggressive. People angry at the minute regarding the Moyes thing. So even if he gets a new contract or he doesn't get a new contract, while sort of it would come to an end, the debate would come to an end as to whether he's going to get one or not because he would have had one. It's the division will remain. And it's going to remain for some time now. At least it would have come to a conclusion. But the split will still remain. In regards to myself, I feel guilty for not going to many games at the minute. My last one was Man United, so just before Christmas, the 23rd of December. That was my last game. It's expensive for me to go. I live in the north of England. It's expensive. The time before that one, when I went to the last home game I went to before that was Sheffield United, and it cost me like £500 to go because of the train strikes. I messed up. I booked the trains, and then one train got cancelled, so I booked a hotel and the train for the next day to come home, and then the other train got cancelled, so I had to end up staying for 2 nights rather than just none initially. But it ended up costing me about £500. Man U wasn't as expensive, but it's still a couple of £100 because of trains. It's expensive to go to London. Is very expensive at the minute. To go to a West Ham game is very expensive. And I'm not talking about me. Well, I am. I'm talking about my situation. But it's the same for everyone. It's expensive. And I feel guilty for not going to games, especially considering I do videos. There's like an obligation to go to games. But there's no desire. And Thursday night when we played Bournemouth, I couldn't go because Gonzo was going, so I couldn't go anyway. One of us always had to be at home to do videos and stuff. But Gonzo was going. I can't go midweek anyway, so it suits me not going to the Thursday one and Gonzo going. But there's still an element of guilt that I wasn't going to that game. Then I watched the game. I'm bloody glad I didn't go. I am glad I didn't go to that game. And it's not the first. It's a lot of games this season. I've debated going or whatever. I look at the trades. It's just too expensive. I can't go, so I don't go. And at the end of it, I'm glad I haven't gone because it's the money. It's the cost involved more than anything else. But it's not worth it. It's not good value at the minute. Now, I would still enjoy my day. I'd still enjoy meeting up with my friends for a drink before the game and after the game, so on and so forth. But the bit that I'm really going for is the football. It's just not enjoyable. And I don't miss it. And I want to miss it. And I will still attend games in the future. But instead of attending, I don't know, 2015-16 was the season I attended the most games ever. And it was about, I don't know, 25 games maybe I attended that season. And when the game finished and I got home, I couldn't wait to get to the next one. I was buzzing for the next one. Can't wait to go. That desire now is disappeared. It's bad value for me now. Now, obviously, my personal circumstances are different from 2015-16. Everything's changed in my life. And I'm probably making a really bad point here, but I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with this one. Because I mentioned it on Patreon the other day, and I compared it to music. I love going to music concerts, and I went to my first gig last Friday night. Small band, local band, The Claws. They're not a local band, they're a small band. Local venue, 200 people there, really small thing. £14 for my ticket. There was 3 bands on. I don't know the first one. The other 2, the Lilacs and the Claws, I absolutely loved them. The 2 bands I love listening to. So for £14, I got to go see 2 bands I really like. And I loved it. It was a fantastic evening, surrounded by people, there for a good time. Everybody singing all the songs. It was just fantastic. But I went knowing I was going to have a good time. Not all music concerts are. I've been to some crap ones. But 80% of the time, maybe, I go and I have a good time. With the football, it's the complete opposite. Probably 80% of the time at the minute I go, I don't particularly enjoy it. And I know people say, well, don't renew and don't go. Well, I will renew because I will keep going. I just go less. But like I said, I want to miss the football. I want to feel, well, I do feel guilty that I don't go, but I want to feel like I'm missing out. But at the minute, I don't. Thursday night against Bournemouth, I was glad I didn't go to that game. I looked at the trains, and like I said, I couldn't go in the end because of Gonzo, but prior to knowing Gonzo was going to the game, I looked at trains, I looked at the hotels, and it cost like £200 or £300 to go. And I thought, I can't justify this, I can't afford this, I can't justify this, but the bit at the end of it was, it's not good value. And I'll still go this season, I'll still go next season regardless of who's manager. But at the minute, it's hard. I don't enjoy it. Anyway, I'm sort of tying it into the David Moyes thing because that is why right now I don't want David Moyes to get a new contract, and I think it would be the wrong thing for the club to do. Now, the only way the club can do this and it becomes, in my opinion, acceptable is if there's clauses in there which is David Moyes has to achieve X, Y or Z between now and the end of the season in order to remain here. Otherwise the club can dismiss David Moyes. Whether Moyes would sign that or not, probably not. What's in it for him that he might get dismissed at the end of the season for no compensation? But I just think it would be the wrong move for the club to do it right now, because I think Moyes is a results-based manager, and I think he will be difficult to replace. I'll summarise my thoughts with that at the end. It'll be the 10th time I say it, so apologies. But anyway, it'd be the wrong thing to do. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, comment, subscribe if you're new around here, get involved in the comments. Like I said, there will be 2 polls going up. Get involved in them. The more votes, the better. And I'll be catching up with Nikki and Nick to have a discussion about all things David Moyes and West Ham. But this is how I will end it. West Ham replacing David Moyes in terms of entertaining football, I think it's easy. I think there's probably plenty of managers out there we can go get that will play better football than what David Moyes does. West Ham replacing David Moyes on a results perspective. Forget the entertainment, just the results. At the minute, it would be difficult. And at the minute, we're 7th in the league. Obviously, if we're now 12th in the league, that, what I'm going to say, changes, right? Ability to change your mind is important, but also being allowed to change your mind is important. But right now, replacing Moyes and replicating the result, I think is a difficult thing. It's not impossible, it's difficult. But finding somebody to play better football and replicate the results, I think is a very hard thing to do. Do the club have it in them to do that? I'm not convinced they do. I'm not convinced, and this is what makes me nervous. So while I don't want David Moyes to get a new contract, my confidence in the club getting in the right manager is pretty low as well. However, I don't want Moyes to get a new deal because I'm not confident in David Sullivan getting in the right manager to replace him. I'll leave it there. I'll catch up with you in a bit.